this gentleman, he was accompanying me in a vehicle, and he said, very enthusiastically, "Jadapi mo bibah karchi, moro ei line re bahut interest achi." Now you see, I have married, I am a householder, but I am very interested in spiritual life. But I am very interested. You see, this is the result of monopolization of Vedanta by monastics. I mean, dekhiva, for the last 1,500 years, Vedanta has become a kind of a monopoly of sannyasis, of scholars. It's something elite, not for everybody. And it's deep-rooted. So once in a while, very casually also, they will say that this feeling is there that Vedanta is for sannyasi. And for us, maybe the popular religion, Bhagavan pakre mundiya mariva, puja, home, archana adi kariva, this is our religion. That is not true. It's an unfortunate consequence. Swami Vivekananda said that his mission is to bring the Vedanta, which was limited to a few monks and scholars, and scatter it among everybody. The Vedanta, which was limited to the forests and mountains, to spread it across the cities of the world. Boner Vedanta Shahre Niyasa. He said that was his message, to democratize Vedanta. I remember, little joke, humorous aside, I have a friend who is a very scholarly monk. And after our training, we are sent to different places. Our training in Belur Mutt, we are sent to different ashrams. So he was posted to an ashram in our Bastar district in central India, Madhya Pradesh actually, at that time, Chhattisgarh now. So it's a huge ashram. And there's a tremendous amount of work for tribal children. But it's in the middle of a dense forest. Now this Swami, ତାଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ବହୁତ ବେଦାନ୍ତର ବହି ଥିଲା। ସେ ଏତେ ବହି ନେଇକି ଯିବେ ସେଇଠି ଜଙ୍ଗଲରେ। ସେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ କ'ଣ କରିବି? ସ୍ୱାମୀଜୀ କହିଛନ୍ତି ଆମେ ବନେର ବେଦାନ୍ତ ସହରେ, ଆମେ ସହରେর বেদান্ত বনে নিয়ে চললাম। So Swami Vivekananda is this idea of democratizing Vedanta. If we go further back, we do not notice this tendency of limiting Vedanta only to a few people. Sri Krishna gives the Bhagavad Gita, which is the one most popular book of Vedanta. If you look at the books of Vedanta, the textual tradition of Vedanta, what do we find? The Upanishads. But the one book, if you ask, across the world, which is identified with Hinduism and with Vedanta, it will be Bhagavad Gita. Hands down, no comparison. And the Bhagavad Gita contains the Upanishadra nirjasa setra achi. Sri Krishna sometimes directly udhrita karik dauchante Upanishadru, se Bhagavad Gita re. As if the Upanishads are cows and the Gita is the milk of the cows. And that Bhagavad Gita is taught by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Both are householders. Both are married. Neither Sri Krishna is a sannyasi nor Arjuna is a sannyasi. It is not taught in an ashram. It is not taught in the mountains or caves. The Bhagavad Gita is taught in the battlefield. I think symbolically, deliberately, to show that if spirituality can be practiced in the battlefield, the worst activity that human beings can do. Worst activity. Because we are very lucky, we are in one sense, this age samasya thao. We are a very mature people. I'm seeing the maturity of both sides. In Russia, Gaza, in America, I come across so many people. Number of people I've come across who are war veterans, who have been traumatized by war. Either they have been injured or and they have become traumatized mentally. So it's a terrible, terrible thing, war. And in this worst war, which is a civil war, in the middle of that, Bhagavad Gita is taught. Krishna expects Arjuna to practice spirituality, Vedanta, in the battlefield, not by becoming sannyasi. Arjuna wanted to become a sannyasi. He says, that's better to leave this bhikshacharyam, to go become a holy wanderer and a beggar. It's better than killing others for a kingdom, for enjoying a kingdom. He wanted to become a sannyasi. And Krishna teaches him Vedanta right there in the battlefield and expects him to practice Vedanta in the battlefield. Swami Vivekananda says, this Vedanta was practical first, theory next. Our darsana, this very subtle logical analysis which we find in Vedanta texts, this is amazing, wonderful. But that comes later. First was the realization, which is put in the Upanishads. First was the great teachers of Vedanta, and Swami Vivekananda says many were Kshatriyas. Many of these Vedantins they were kings and emperors. And he says, they had tremendous responsibilities. Thare, this was in Calcutta. So you got a club, Calcutta club. British Jamana seta heichi, and they are a little abhivitike British achen semane. So once they invited me to give a talk. But I arrived a little early, audience asiva aguru. Emta dress code achi. So Indian dress, eighth in the dress pindi basichi, I can see the manager, assistants man dekhuchunti kotha hochunti vitare. Ikai babaji aschunti eti. And then they asked me, so apna kon pai aschunti? Then I said, I've come for this talk. Oh, I see. You go to that ballroom gote achi. Your venue is there. There was one lady there, middle-aged lady. Then we started talking. Just last week I went to Bardhaman University to give a lecture. She became very interested. Lecture I said, in the hall. Oh, she said, that was my room. Room? Appanako room mane? Bada lecture hall. Room kimte hava. Then she said, I am the princess of Bardhaman. My Bapa Raja thile Bardhaman ka. That was our palace, Gulabbaga campus, jota abhi kahi university ro. She de dichanti university ko. So I was very interested. We talked for some time. Tapare lecture arambha hala. And when the lecture started, I had prepared already. Prepared ko ja na bhabi ki. Swami Vivekananda katha. Vedanta was practiced in ancient times by the kings and queens. And in those days, kings and queens were people with real responsibility and power, not the symbolic figureheads who are found in today. Ajikal jo bane seman by namatra raja rani sebi kahili na bhabiki samnare se baschanti. Tanko pakhare jo baschanti se emta korchanti taku. Symbolic figureheads. But it is true. People who are exceptionally busy, people say, Amara samay nahi, eso practice kariya. Where do I have the time? People who are exceptionally busy, with exceptional responsibilities, they found the time to practice. If they found the time to practice, that means it's eminently practical. Semane bajya jinsore samay nashto karibeni, because they have tremendous responsibilities. Raja mane, Maharaja mane, Samrat mane, they practiced it. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda says, if they could do it, we can very well do it. Nishchayame, in whatever circumstance we are, we will be able to do it. Wherever, he says Vedanta, it should be able to help us wherever we are, whoever we are. He says in one place, if a religion cannot lift a piece of bread to the mouth of a starving person, cannot wipe the tears of a widow, and promises heaven after death, I don't care for such a religion. So wherever we are, whoever we are, you're a student, Vedanta should be able to help you. You're a housewife, Vedanta should be able to help you. You are a sannyasi in a mountain cave, Vedanta should be able to help you. You are engaged in politics, in social service, in education, Vedanta should be able to help you, 100%. This is what Vivekananda wanted. And this was the idea. The source of the Vedanta, go back further beyond Bhagavad Gita also. The rishis of the Upanishadic age, many of them were householders. Many of them were married. The whole Vedanta tradition has come. There is sannyasi parampara, there is also grihastha parampara. Vedanta is practical, eminently practical for everybody.